feed these hungry, Steam Deck fans, Yeah, they don't take no nonsense. Gotta feed them. Yeah, the Steam Deck fans are hungry. They want to know what's going on with their machine. Well, gotta keep them up to date. Hello, people. Good mornings or good afternoon. Another beautiful day. Yep. I hope your 5 senses work. Health and strength is good. Or, excellent. What? What's up, Steam Deck fans? The Steam Deck tribe, nation, universe, world, legion. What's good? Mob, what's happening? Squad, what's up? Nerds, geeks, and freaks. And you investigators, what's happening? Sitting here messing with y'all today. So what do I got for you Steam Deck fans? Oh, by the way, you Steam Deck investigators are always up to something. Yeah, I seen the article where you took the motherboard and connected to the dock. Yeah, I seen it. I was reading it too. I guess you guys are still trying to get the best out of the Steam Deck, huh? Well, keep trying. Anyway, see what else I got for you. What I got for you guys here. Okay, all right. Okay, got that part out the way. Let's see here. Okay, what else I got? Okay, all right. Now let's get down to business. So, FSR 3 is coming to Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 3, and Warzone. All right, got you covered. Yeah, Fidelity FX Super Resolution 3. Yeah. Says here, got an article here from TweakTown. It says here, AMD FSR 3 with frame generation adds to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone. It says Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and free-to-play Warzone just got an update, adding support for AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution 3 or FSR 3 that adds upscaling and frame generation to a broader range of gamers. And it says here, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 launched with DLSS 3 frame generation support and DLSS 2, FSR 2.1, and Intel XeSS upscaling. However, like with all DLSS 3 enabled titles, the frame generation side of the equation is limited to GeForce RTX 40 series of cards due to NVIDIA approaching using new specialized AI hardware in the latest lineup. It says AMD approach is different and an open source platform agnostic version of both upscaling and frame generation, meaning that it's available for all players no matter if they're rocking a new 40 series and GeForce RTX 30 series or Radeon 6000 or 7000 series of GPU. So when you see articles like this, and when it comes to AMD, the Steam Deck is not exempt from the equation. They might be talking about video cards, but the Steam Deck uses RDNA and all of that, so yeah, and uses FSR, so the Steam Deck is not exempt. Anyway, says here, AMD recommends using the latest Radeon RX 5000 or GeForce RTX 20 series GPU for frame generation, as it requires a certain base levels of performance to work as intended. FSR 3 adds to Call of Duty means there are now 6 titles with the tech, including Avatar, Frontier of Pandora, Forspoken, Immortal of Avium, Like a Dragon, The Man Who Erased His Name, and Motor Clubs RC. FSR 3 differs from upscaling driver-based AMD Fluid Motion, AFMF, released on January 24th. Like DLSS and earlier FSR version, game developers must implement FSR 3 with frame generation into a title. That means it's open source. Says here, unfortunately, you can't mix and match upscaling technology with mods. FSR 3 requires using FSR upscaling or running the game with the native profile, so image quality suffers compared to DLSS. Not to mention the generated frames not being quite up to NVIDIA AI generated levels. The trade-off, of course, is that FSR 3 works with basically every GPU, so much so that the news of FSR 3 being added to Call of Duty was spotted on Reddit by players rocking a GeForce RTX 3060 laptop GPU Either way, it now means the countless gamers with GeForce RTX 30 series cards can enable frame generation in Call of Duty. So when you see articles like this, when articles are like this, when they're talking about FSR and you're dealing with graphics cards, the Steam Deck is not exempt from the equation. Okay, remember that. Steam Deck is always included. It might not say it in the title, but we all know that AMD and Valve are like this, and the Steam Deck supports FSR, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So yeah, FSR 3 on the Steam Deck, yeah. Call of Duty, yeah. Steam Deck is not exempt, so yeah. All right, what else I got for you guys? Let's see here. Linux is suddenly 6% faster in one respect after a developer spent 5 minutes tinkering with it. Yeah, it says here developers say the claimed 6% boost to file system performance was something that took just a few minutes, and it's hopefully be included in Linux 6.9, version 6.9 that is. It says here, an enterprising Linux developer has managed to cook up some tweaks for Linux that give a 6% boost to file system performance. It says here, as explained on Twitter, I don't call it X, I call it Twitter. On Twitter, Jens Axbo made just a couple of changes to catch an algorithm that led to a notable increase in speed for I/O operation. Apparently, Axbo had been meaning to make this code change for years, but only just got around to doing so. The sum of total of work is 2 patches around 5 minutes of labor, which is pretty impressive, as Phoronix.com, which picked up on this tweet, reports. Moreover, the gain could be bigger on a full-scale distro kernel config. Axbo point out, result in patch 2, but TLDR is more than 6% improvement. And then it says in parentheses 108M and then 115 IOPS. For my test case, which doesn't even enable most of the costly block layers items that you might typically find in a distro, which would further increase the number of issues side time calls. With any luck, this work will be incorporated into Linux 6.9, version 6.9 that is, and users will get the benefits. That version is expected to arrive as a stable in the summer, though we have version 6.8, which is close to release before that. In other recent Linux news, the operating system is going from strength to strength in terms of market share as of late. It's now on a 3.82% of desktop PC out there, according to StatsCounter, latest figures for December 2023. And then it says around the middle of last year, Linux hit fresh heights of 3% market adoption for desktop operating system, and that the momentum has been sustained. Now we're looking at the 4% mark, although of course that's still a relatively modest total compared to Windows 73% and Mac OS 16%. Yeah, Linux community is growing, little step by step and little by little. So yeah, but a 6% improvement, faster in performance. That's pretty good. Every little percent counts. Anyway, what else I got for you guys since I'm sitting here talking? All right, what else I got for you? Here's another one for you. See if I can pull this up. Let's see here. Here's another one. Ubuntu Linux working on installer support for NVMe over TCP. That's talking about solid state. Listen to this. It says here, Ubuntu Linux working on an installer for NVMe over TCP. It says here, ahead of the Ubuntu 24.4 LTS release that is all important for servers, Conical engineers are working on extending their installer support to handle NVMe over TCP setup. Says NVMe over TCP is an extension to the NVMe protocol TCP/IP transmission protocol internet protocol TCP/IP. Just saying. Anyway, network to allow for expanded storage infrastructure while scaling using standard Ethernet between NVMe of host and NVMe of controller on the network. The NVMe/TCP can be used for creating large disaggregated NVMe storage pool, and says here, whoops, so I can get this pool and capabilities primarily for data centers. While the Linux kernel already supports NVMe TCP, Conical has been working on adding support for its installer. Initially, the focus is on Subquidity as their server-based Focus installer, with no change yet to their desktop installer. It says this merge adds partial supports to curtains of handling for NVMe over TCP storage configuration type. Building of that curtain support is this draft merge quest for NVMe over TCP proof of concept code for Subquidity Ubuntu server installers. And then it says here, the initial focus is on allowing Ubuntu root file system to be placed on remote NVMe drives, while typically the boot/EFI partition will be on a local storage. Presumably, Conical is aiming to have this NVMe TCP install support ready to go by the Ubuntu 24.4 long-term support release in April. Yeah, get ready for that. It's coming. Ubuntu. Anyway, in April is fastly approaching too. All right, now what else I got for you guys? What else I got for you little Steam Deck fans? Since we talking news here, let's see here. There was one that I saw yesterday, and it was about Ubuntu. Let's see here. I think it was on Ubuntu. I was looking at it. Oh, here we go. There's one more. There's one more on Ubuntu. Ubuntu got some updating to do. Listen to this. Conical Steam Snap is causing headaches for Valve. Yeah, that means it needs some work. Listen to this. It says here, Conical may be ramping up its effort to improve the Ubuntu gaming experience. Yes, but it seems their Steam Snap package is causing a few headaches for Valve. It says Timothy Bissett, a software engineer who works on Steam Client for Valve, took to Mastodon this week to reveal Valve is seeing an increased number of bug reports for issues caused by Conical repackaging of the Steam client through Snaps. We're not involved with the Snap repackaging. It has a lot of issues. Bissett adds nothing that Bissett's way to install Steam on Debian and deactivate operating system is to use the official deb. So those who want to see the official deb package are instead asked to consider the Flatpak version, though like Steam Snaps, the Steam Flatpak is also unofficial and not directly supported by Valve, but unlike the Snap, it says so in the store listing. That means Conical needs some more updates. It says here, Conical launched its Steam Snap in 2022 as a testing development preview. That effort lasted around 11 months, and the build was deemed stable in April of last year, in time for the release of Ubuntu 23.4. Because Conical developer Snap, because Conical A and developer Snap and B package and integrates the Steam Linux client to work with the tech. Any bug issues or quirks stemming from the Steam Snap build should, in theory, be reported to them first rather than to Valve. Then it says, after all, Conical engineers are best placed to know if an issue is Snap related or something within Steam itself that upstream developer at Valve should know about. But it doesn't sound like that's happening. Why? It says here, do Ubuntu users know they're using a Snap version not made by Valve? The Open Ubuntu software search for Steam. Click the matching results. See a reassuring green tick, and then it says in parentheses, albeit next to Conical rather than Valve, but it is a tick. In close parentheses, then it says, and hit install ergo the Steam Snap. While Ubuntu software, then says parentheses again, and the newer App Center shows display package filters and formats source labels within the UI, as well as developer package names and support links. Such features are only helpful to those who know what they mean or to look for them, because it's easy to assume that anyone who uses Ubuntu breathes it too. I did argue they don't. Ubuntu has a colossal install base, and there's a good chance most users don't know what Snap is. Do you know what Snap is? Anyway, it says how it differed to traditional packaging, etc. Then it says in parentheses, and arguably they shouldn't need to either. Still, some simple signposting within the Steam Snap to point users to the right avenue of reporting bugs would help shift the burden off if Valve. And with the recent launch of an Ubuntu gaming room on Matrix, there's plenty of places Ubuntu users can go to get advice on gaming. Says here, they just need to know about them, I guess. Could Conical tweak their store description to mention their package is not supported or / affiliated with Valve? Maybe, but the benefit would hinge on people reading the description, and I reckon most people looking to install Steam wouldn't, since they know what it is. Then it says subtopic, if it gets really bad, I guess we could start popping a warning. Snap back to the current situation, and there is another option. If Conical Steam Snap continues to have issues which cause Valve to contact by users unhappy with the experience, Timothy Bissett suggests the company could start popping a warning to Steam Snap users when they open the app. While that would be seen as an extreme move, would it be unfair? Valve, then it says in parentheses, and its reputation to an extent, close parentheses, is the one being affected as it stands. Any suggestion yourself, share them below. And then he says, I am curious, do you use Steam Snap? What's your experience been like? And have you reported issues, encounters to Valve or Conical? Let me know below. Well, Ubuntu got some issues they need to fix, especially with Conical, since it's not made by Valve. And they need to communicate better with their users, you know, to have a better experience with Ubuntu. Like I said before months ago, when I said when I was covering the Steam Deck, that communication is key in today's time. You have to communicate. So devs they can't sit back. You know, like when they make something, they can't just sit back and then be like, that's it. You know, they have to communicate with the users, you know, and to keep the user base intact, and to make the users users experience better. So communication is key in all this, in everything, especially now that we got all these social media. You got email systems. You got blogs. You got all. I mean, you got all these email systems, social media platform, blogs to communicate. So when the developers got to communicate with, got to do a better job of communicating with users, and then users have to do a better job of communicating with developers. It's a back and forth thing, communication. So that's how you get a lot of things solved, and things fixed and things repaired, and get things better in today's world. So it looked like Ubuntu got some issues they need to solve and they need to fix. So, but it starts off with communication, because there's no such thing as you just make a program and then you just sit back and then you just think that's it. If you make the program, you gotta open the line of communication, and then the users now, they can't be standoffish. They have to communicate with the developers, and it's a back and forth thing. So yeah, that's what they're gonna have to do. So yeah, and then also they got to communicate with the developers of Ubuntu has to communicate with Valve, and then Valve communicate back to them. Then the developers of Ubuntu now communicate with the users, and then the users now communicate back to the developers, and the developers communicate back to Valve. So communication is key in all this. So that's what they're going to have to do. So yeah, to fix this problem. But other than that, that's all the news I got to report on the Linux front when it comes to gaming, and Steam Deck, desktop, whatever I find out, I share with you guys. But yeah, communication is key in all this. In a whole, when Valve created the Steam Deck, they communicated with the users, and then the users communicated with them. It's a back and forth thing. So now you add Ubuntu to the mix now. So it's like the users communicate to the Ubuntu developers communicate to the users back, and it's back and forth. It's like this. Yeah. Gotta communicate, man. So anyway, that's how they get this problem fixed. And developers have to stay in a constant communication with Valve. Whatever problem comes up, and that should fix things. But anyway, that's all the news I got to report. Any news I find, I'll let you know. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still Star Wars and Star Trek fan, or Dark Side.